Let's go, UW. Looks like Dan Moore is back at left tackle.
Yeah, they did have him taking some first-team reps from what I saw. I didn't see anything other than that, though. But granted, I've been in and out. But I did see him taking some first-team reps.
I'm not happy about the news, to be honest.
I can understand that. I mean, if we being real about it, it's kind of mixed feelings about the situation for a couple of reasons. Personally, I'm excited for Broderick. I want to see what he can continue to do. But at the same time, I don't like how it was going to be perceived as a player. Because the perception would have been that Dan was struggling to the extent that now that he got hurt, now we could just bump you in. That was not the case to me. I looked at the matchups, and I'm like, yo, that matters. I look at full body of work, and I'm like, as a whole, we still have been fine with this kid. So, yeah, we want Broderick to beat him out, but I want him to actually beat him out. Don't just hand it to him because of, all right, this is just a feel good right here. This is going to make a little sense. It's smooth right here. It's less controversy. It's like, no, man, let the dude get a chance to beat him out or let Dan actually get beat out. But at the same time for Broderick, I'm like, man, you played really well in your first full game. Why can't you go out there and do it again? We don't know what you can't do until you go out there and show it. But I think you're really good. And I think you got a legit chance to be, a really good tackle in this league just based on what you bring in terms of your attributes. But that's why I'm kind of back and forth with it.
That's where I'm at. Let's just
I'm real back and forth with it, man.
Now, here's my question to you, though. How does Broderick beat Dan Moore out? Because this isn't the offseason or training camp or preseason
Well, part of
anymore.
how he beats Dan Moore out is this. Number one, he did the first thing that he could do was when you got an opportunity, you got to look good. You can't have bad plays. You can't get cooked. That never happened. So that's the first step.
And he looked good in the run game.
Yeah. The second step to me personally, it's not more about the practice because, like I said, it'd be hard to do that. But it's more so if Dan Moore opens the door. Now, the reason why I don't feel like he's opened the door just yet is because he went against Nick Bosa, Max Crosby, Myles Garrett. Heck, even Will Anderson. All four of those guys, we would all agree, we feel are very much better players than Jadeveon Clowney. And that's the player that Broderick Jones went against. So my whole dilemma is, if those two were flipped, could Broderick look as good as Dan looked at times versus that group? Because I've already seen Dan Moore versus Jadeveon Clowney. I already know he could do that. But the question is, can Broderick handle them type of dudes that Dan Moore was having to face? And if we're going to grade them and act as if, Broderick going against Jadeveon is as impressive as Dan going against those guys, that's to me personally where I had like my disconnect with it. But I'm with you. I want to see the young guy out there because I do feel like he played well. It's just, this is the business of it, man.
And we're not going to have to go up against those edge rushers for the rest of
Right.
the season, outside of when we play the Browns again.
Yeah. So part of me says for Broderick, that's great. But then I look at Dan Moore and I'm like, so Dan, you're in the gravy train if you were to be back out there also. Because you've already went through that murderer's row.
Yeah, so if he does start looking bad
Yeah.
in the next month or so,
Right.
it's
Now
really time.
It's time. Right. Because now I can't say you're going against these dudes. Now I'm looking at this sample size saying these are regular guys. If you can't beat them consistently, then yeah, this is what Broderick is here for. But that's my feelings on it personally.
Who's the Rams got again? They got. Whew.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Byron Young.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the rookie we were just talking about from Tennessee?
Yeah.
Yeah, drafted in the 3rd round.
AD is their guy.
And then who's on the other side? Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Hoke?
Because Leonard Floyd left.
Hoke.
Remember, Leonard Floyd is in Buffalo now. That's been their guy. It was Leonard. They had Vaughn.
This dude's out of the Ivy League.
Okay. No shot to the Ivy League. Shout out to my Ivy League brother, Ryan Fitzpatrick. But yeah, man.
Oh, these are no-name dudes.
Yeah.
These are no-name dudes.
But think about the narrative though, Deke. If you put Broderick out there, Broderick's gonna look exceptional, right? And we're gonna keep pushing it. But at the same time, I'm like, Dan Moore's gonna come out here, and I think he could look good.
He
out
should.
Here, man. Yeah.
He should.
And that's my
Anything
whole,
less than that.
right. If he doesn't look dominant versus them type of dudes, then yeah, that door is officially open. But I personally think that Dan Moore is gonna look just as good versus them as Broderick would look just as good versus them. I think. But that's the situation, man. That is the situation.